a.m. local time in Dubai. Local media reports that thousands of people were forced to evacuate. We do not yet have any reports one way or another about injuries or potential fatalities. We're going to go now to the phone to Leah Polonenko, who took some of the video that you have been seeing here. Leah, thanks for joining us. Tell us what you saw.
Yeah, so I saw it from the beginning, really. So it started just a small apartment fire on the 51st floor, approximately. And then what happened was on that one side of the building, it started massively growing. It's been an extremely windy day in Dubai today. We had a sandstorm. So basically debris started flying, and because of the wind, it was brought to the other side of the building. And so the complete other side started rupturing in flames as well. So then it just turned into a massive fire in a massive building.
So the flames actually went around the building to the complete other side.
Yeah, debris was flying everywhere. In fact, buildings around, including my own, were also evacuated just because there's fear that the wind is bringing the fiery debris to other buildings as well.
And in some of the video that we're looking at right now, you can see debris falling off the tower. I understand that's, in many cases, that's molten glass.
It is, yes. It's quite, when everybody was evacuated, it was quite scary because you didn't know if it was sand or glass. There was a lot of running and panic and eyes being full of different things. It's pretty chaotic down there right now.
Did you see people coming out of the building? I mean, did anyone appear to be injured? Anyone needing medical attention?
No, which is great. Apparently, there's some people that had some smoke injuries, but yeah, exactly. But besides that, nothing that I've seen or heard about.
And you said this started around 2 a.m. or so, or at least those are the reports. And you said, I believe you said that there were people actually coming home from being out late and suddenly discovering that their building was on fire.
Oh, it was really sad. I was actually walking away, and people were coming towards home, and then people around would have to tell them, why thousands of people were out on the streets because they didn't have a home to go to. So it was pretty chaotic down in that whole area.
They obviously roped off the whole area, and as you said, your building itself was evacuated, as were a number of other buildings. What sort of a response did you see from? Was there massive, fire crews and stuff and the like?
Yeah, the fire crews seem to take a little bit longer to get there, but the Dubai police is really good, really safe, and really around the city. So the police were there right away, making sure that people needed to escape the building, get away, and kind of sectioning off the area so that no cars would come. Because honestly, the debris made the whole area dangerous. So it wasn't just within the building, but it was the whole entire community.
Could you see firefighters actually battling the blaze, or were they not actually kind of entering the building itself?
To be honest, I didn't see anything, but that's no indication of them not doing their job. I'm sure they were. I just couldn't see.
And I understand there had been a number of false alarms in this building. I know you don't live in this building, but from all the reports, there have been a number of false alarms in this building now for several weeks. And that a lot of buildings, and this surprised me, that a lot of buildings in Dubai, the fire codes there really aren't up to the standards of many other places. And many of buildings in Dubai, I read about 70% of the buildings in high-rise buildings in Dubai are clad with a very flammable, what's called a thermoplastic core.
Wow. I can't speak to that, but that's unfortunate if it's true.
Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. I know it's... actually, Leah, how far away are you, or is your building from this building?
Oh, literally just across the street. So, like a few feet. Like a regular one-lane street.
And do you have any idea how many other buildings in the area were evacuated?
At least 4 that I know of. It's a very heavily populated area.
And at its height, how many stories would you estimate the fire was encompassing? Because I mean, from some of the video you shot, it looks like multiple stories.
Oh, absolutely. I counted 20 at least on the one side, and on the other side probably about 12 or 13. But the one nice I shouldn't say nice, but the one good thing is that it seemed to be going quite slowly, the spread. So I think most people were able to evacuate in time because it wasn't a sudden rush of fire. It was over. It started just before 2 o'clock actually, and it was around 3 that the mass chaos kind of unfolded.
And did the fire actually spread to lower floors as well, with all that flaming molten glass pouring off the building?
Oh yeah, it started on a very high floor, and then it went down quite a few floors, and then the debris that brought it to the other side was on a lower area.
Just incredible. Leah, thank you again so much for talking to us. If you can't stick around for us, we are getting reports that the fire is now contained, that it's out. I want to bring in someone who knows the challenge of battling flames in very tall structures. Firefighting expert Robert Rowe, he joins us by phone. Robert, a fire of this size and this scope, this far above the ground, and as Leah was saying, there have been high winds there. There was a sandstorm today, so winds blowing, molten glass falling. Is it actually possible that, how do you go about battling something like this?
Well, first of all, you have to be very careful about actually entering the building with the glass. So you have to take your time to figure out your plan, but not too much time. And then accessing the floors. Well, and a lot of times you're not able to really use the elevators because most of the elevators come down to the first floor. It's the staircase, and as you can see, these buildings are pretty tall, so it's going to take a little while for firefighters to get to that level, to the area where they stage their equipment and begin fighting the fire. My understanding is this building is most probably sprinklered, but it's hard to tell. I'm not really sure exactly what the configuration on this building is, but that would obviously be a factor.
Right. Most of the reports I've read said that most of the high-rises in Dubai do have internal sprinklers as well as hoses, but that the core, as many as 70% of the high-rises use a very flammable core, a thermoplastic core. How is that possible that in this day and age, in a place as advanced as Dubai, their fire codes wouldn't be up to the same standards as other countries?
Well, the different countries, as you said, Anderson, the different countries have different codes. There's different processes which the building and the fire industry go through to develop these codes. I know here in the United States, if we were to have a building of that size, it would be held to a very strict standard, and the fire would be out in the incipient stages.
So when firefighters actually enter the building to fight it, and do they use the hoses that are already on the various floors, assuming there are hoses there, or do they have to cart hoses up as they go?
Well, here in the U.S., they take hoses with them when they go into the building, which, you have to be in top physical shape to get the equipment up to those floors. But, there are hoses within the buildings, but a lot of times you can't really depend on that equipment because of maintenance issues or the lack of. So you have to depend on the equipment that you're familiar with and you train with.
That molten glass coming off, it just sounds like that's such an easy way for the fire to spread to other parts of the building or even neighboring buildings.
That's correct, and I believe there may be some code deficiencies with regards to the exterior surfaces of the building and fire protection measures that should have been in place or maybe are in the process of being in place or being put in place to prevent fire spread from floor to floor on the exterior of the building.
Yeah, that's right. They are trying to revamp their codes. I've been reading. It's unclear to me, though, how extensive those changes are, and obviously any building that's already been damaged then has to revamp their codes. My understanding is that, that, as you said, the buildings have sprinklers inside, have hoses inside, but once a fire is on the outside, it's very hard in Dubai to actually contain it, very hard to actually fight it.
That's my understanding after reading up on this a little bit. My understanding is that there are some plans in place to retrofit the building with some exterior fire protective coverings to prevent fire from spreading from floor to floor on the exterior. And that very well could be the reason that we're not seeing this fire, stopping on the exterior the way we're seeing it. I'm understanding that the fire is actually contained at this point, or at least it's on its way to being contained, but I'm certain that they're going to be looking at retrofit provisions to have the fire protective measure put in place to prevent this from happening again.
One of the other problems apparently in this building is that there have, according to residents and reports that I've read, there have been a number of false alarms, fire alarms, kind of regularly going to the point where people in the building kind of just ignore them. One person I read was quoted as saying, you know, he thought it was just a regular, yet another false alarm, and there have been several in the last several weeks, until he actually smelled smoke, and that's when he decided to evacuate.
Right, yeah, and false alarms do occur. I mean, it doesn't really matter where you live. There's false alarms for various reasons. But the most important thing in buildings of this size, especially, is the inspection, testing, and maintenance of number one, the fire sprinkler system, which is your first line of defense in a fire, but as well as your early warning and your detection system, which is the fire alarm system, needs to be tested, inspected, and checked and maintained annually. And my understanding is they do inspect it in Dubai, but I'm not privy to any information that may have come out of those inspections.
Robert, let me just ask you, on a practical basis, for people in the United States or watching anywhere around the world right now, if you are in a high-rise and there's a fire on a lower floor that you're in, what is the best course of action? I mean, do you try to shelter in place? Do you try to make it down? Do you try to go up to the roof? What do you do?
Well, you know, it's going to be based on where the fire is located in the building and where you're located in the building. So, in a lot of cases, the fortunate thing in the United States in this day and age, fire protection systems are in place, as they were not back in the day, and that's why there were so many fatalities back in the day on high-rise buildings. But you know, when you have a fire sprinkler system in the building, sheltering in place is you know, one measure of protection you can use to survive. But in a lot of cases, in the buildings that are fully sprinklered, you're able to evacuate safely into these stairwells, provided that the stairwells are maintained and operating properly. And one of the things that I understood in this particular building, they inherently have problems with leaving fire doors open on each floor. Which can cause, if a lot of people like to wedge doors open so they can go from floor to floor without being impeded. That's more of a convenience issue, but those doors are there for a reason. They're rated, they hold back fire, and a lot of these large buildings like this, especially a 79-story building, wouldn't be surprised to see quite a few doors in the open position, blocked open or wedged open. So that's a real problem.
Well, Robert, I appreciate your expertise. Robert Rowe, thank you so much for joining on this. I do want to go to Abu Dhabi, where a producer of ours is monitoring developments for us. CNN's anchor John Defterios. John, what's the latest now?
Well, we have reports on the ground, Anderson, in the last 15 minutes. First and foremost, the good news is that the fire is out. This has been confirmed by the Dubai Civil Defense in the last 15 minutes. Just to recap for our viewers watching this from any part of the world right now, this is a building that is 79 stories high that actually houses 676 units. Our producer on the ground has said that there is up to 7 long fire trucks on the scene and 5 fire vans and 1 ambulance, but Civil Defense has confirmed again in the last quarter hour there are no injuries. Now, there are hundreds of people apparently that have evacuated the building and looking to see if they can get back in the building. The word that we have from on the ground is that those at the 50th floor or above, this fire happened around the 50th floor, trying to confirm exactly which floor it is, will not be able to go back into the building. This is 5 in the morning at any time soon. Those below, if they chose to go in because the fire is out, can do so. So we're trying to see what in fact happens to those residents going forward. Again, this is a very well-known building on the Dubai skyline. Anderson, you've been into Dubai and Abu Dhabi. If you're driving from Abu Dhabi going in on the main highway going into Dubai, about 15 minutes before you get into downtown Dubai, there's a very packed residential area. Our viewers can see the pictures right now. This is known simply as the Marina, and the Torch is one of the best-known buildings on that skyline. This is a city that has grown rapidly over the last 10 years, and of course, anytime a fire like this happens, people start to question the building codes. Are there safety precautions in place? Has the fire department responded in time? Again, the word from Civil Defense, no injuries on the ground, that the fire has been contained, and we don't know the cause of the fire, although there have been questions raised about this building in the recent past.
Yeah, well, John Defterios, still a lot to learn in the hours ahead. I appreciate you monitoring this for us. We'll continue to monitor it and bring it up to date all throughout this hour that we're on the air. Quick reminder, make sure you set your DVR. You can watch 360 whenever you want. Up next, more breaking news. What we're learning from the accused road rage killer's arrest report. New details on this.
It's been a journey to get where I am. And I didn't get here alone. There were people who listened along the way. People who gave me options, kept me on track. And through it all, my retirement never got left behind. So today, I'm prepared for anything we may want tomorrow to be.
Every someday needs a plan. Let's talk about your old 401k today.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.